Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to the webinar tonight. Gosh, are we excited or what? I mean, I've been to lots of conventions. It's true. This was our 5th convention with Zango. And all I can tell you is they always seem to get better, but this one was like on another level. This was up another notch. And we talked to many of the leaders after the convention was over. What were your thoughts on it? And I sort of felt like the same way I felt after the first convention that we attended. If you recall, our first convention, we brought 17 people there, and we just come away with such a level of certainty. It was like, wow, this is going to be huge, and are we lucky to be here? And I had the same feeling that was beyond the feelings I had from the other convention. I think it had a lot to do with just the critical mass of us coming together as a group and the harmony that we felt there, some of the incredible announcements that we made with this enormous international expansion that we've got coming up here. So we're very excited to give you folks an update. If you weren't there, you missed a fantastic convention. You definitely want to commit to next year. And if you were there, well, then, you're going to have fun watching what already happened, which you experienced. So let's get the ball rolling. Eric, first of all, I wanted to just introduce the guest that we're going to be having on here. You've heard Terry Manville there. Are you there, Terry?
Yes, I am, Mark.
I didn't hear you. Were you muted?
Yes, I am, Mark.
Still not hearing my wife. I can hear her. Are you there, Eric?
I'm here.
Okay, Eric Welsh is there. Somehow. Oh, yeah. You call back in on the other line. And we've got Kevin and Lisa, right?
Yep,
Correct.
Here.
Okay. Terry was doing a phone test for us to check to make sure the overflow is line, but now she's muted out. So we have all kinds of challenges running our home businesses. Zango Invasion 2007. You know, one of the great things, this is called our convention update thing. And before we get into anything here, Eric, I just wanted to get your overall feeling, what your experience was of convention, and then what we're going to do is show a little demo of one of the announcements.
Well, this was my 3rd convention, and I think the biggest thing that I felt and was kind of repeated often from the team was it was kind of expressed in a phrase I heard several times is I'd never seen so many people cry so much. It was so emotionally packed. It was just it hit home in a way that I've never felt before regarding Zango, and it was just fantastic. It was just awesome.
Yeah, and Eric, we had the pleasure of joining with you on the 100K dinner here. I've got a nice picture of you and Heidi in your limo. You spoke. You were asked to be one of the speakers at the 100K dinner. What was that like?
I was shaking in my boots.
Really?
It was pretty intimidating to be asked to speak in front of 100Ks and 200Ks and 500Ks and the founders of the company. I'm much more comfortable introducing them to speak, I guess, but it was pretty surreal. I actually mentioned it when we were on the call, how I thought that, I used to, 2 years ago, I went to my first convention. I was a brand new premier, new kid on the block, knew nothing, didn't know who anyone was in Zango, who the leaders were. And I remember hearing about a 100K dinner where Bob Schmidt had spoke and just totally amazed the crowd and said some insightful things, and everyone was just talking about it the next day. And I remember promising myself someday I'm going to be at that dinner. And little did I know, 24 months later, I'd be speaking at it. So that's the kind of craziness that can happen in this kind of business, I guess.
Yeah, I've had a few technical difficulties here. My whole control panel for my webinar just disappeared from the screen, so I apologize. We never know what's going to happen. Isn't it tough having a home business, Eric? I mean, you could have all kinds of problems, right?
Yeah, we don't have to fight traffic, but you have a little other things to worry about, I guess.
Well, listen, let's do this. One of the major announcements, and I've got it brought up on the screen here, is Zango TV. Now, what the heck is this all about? This is a way for us to connect worldwide. We'll be able to upload videos. The company is uploading videos. You'll be able to download videos, and it's a phenomenal tool. In fact, on the way home, we were sitting around the airport, and we brought up this little video that I'm going to show a clip of. And everybody there was a lot of Zango people in the airport, and they were all gathered around as we watched. And I think for those of you that weren't there, this little video clip, and these are all accessible at zangotv.tv.com. I mean, we're going to have, there's various channels on here that you can see. There'll be a contest channel. There'll be an events channel, goodness channel, lifestyle, sports, testimonials, tools, training. the Zango launch, all of the videos that will be put up there by corporate as well as distributor videos as well. And you have to get them approved. They're also having a contest over here. You can submit and upload your videos. There's already some great ones up here, and you'll be able to download these too. So let's do this. Let's just show a little bit of a clip that'll give you a picture and a feel for the event. It's just a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get into the rest of the announcements. But we're really excited about the potential for this to be able to send people an email and direct them to any particular video that you think would be appealing to them. And you can download these videos. You can put them on an iPod. You can put them on a disc, and it's just a phenomenal thing here. So here we're going to go with this. Okay, well, there's a little overview. That's the future of Zango TV, but imagine watching also 4-minute or 3-minute business tips. Dwayne Dyer's got a business tip up on there. And one of the things I wanted to point out, what a class act. One of the winners of the trip to Hawaii was 100K premier Carolyn Johnson. And what she did is after she went up and accepted her award, she decided that being that she was already successful, already had the money to go to Hawaii, she gave her trip away, allowed it to be redrawn for again, and then when Aaron heard about that, that's what he was talking about on the video there. Basically he said, you're going to Hawaii too. So there was an extra Hawaii trip, plus there was 2 cars given away, and it was a phenomenal start to the event. What was your feeling on all of that, Eric? I mean, I know you also had one of your premieres. In fact, Raja, that we had on here recently, was up as presenting on the stage as well. Or being displayed on the stage. His story actually is being discovered on the stage.
Yeah, it was there was a lot of energy from a million different directions. It took me till today to be emotionally back in shape. I think it kind of just beat it out of me, and several people were calling today saying they're finally back in gear from it all. But it was, between the excitement of the giveaways and the people that were, I actually missed Joe Morton's talk, but everyone said he just totally knocked it out of the park, and there he was on crutches, and you just had there was a different, I think the founders came to this with a different sense of something like an urgency or a seriousness of the moment that we're at, and I think that's reflected by Aaron Garrity's statement, as he said, Zango's done things in network marketing in the first 5 years no company's ever thought possible. And he said, we're going to do things in the next 5 years that are just going to blow their mind as far as international expansion and things like that. So,
yeah, Eric, in fact, I had a slide on that, and I forgot to put it up. But what he basically said is in the next 5 years, Xango will have the most incredible international expansion in the history of our industry. What's going to happen in the next 5 years internationally is going to be bigger than any company has ever done. Just like we've done more in the U.S., in the first 5 years, we're also going to do more internationally. And so when you're sitting out there and you're thinking about international expansion and you're wondering, how am I going to get into these other countries? Somebody that you know knows people in every single one of the countries that we're open in. And all you have to do is start asking people. What a great door opener in conversations. Do you know anybody from Germany? Do you know anybody from Norway? Do you know anybody from Taiwan? It's opening next week. Do you happen to know anybody from Taiwan? I'm looking to expand my business internationally. And it's just a great way of networking. Then they'll probably ask you, well, what business are you in? I mean, it's a whole other way of thinking. And I want you to start asking those questions when it's appropriate as you get out around the world there.
Well, I think it's a great way for people to approach some of their chicken lists because you're immediately elevating it to a whole other level of conversation. It's not, would you like to work with me selling juice to your neighbors? It's like, would you like to expand with a multi-billion-dollar company into all of Asia as we crush the marketplace? I'm pretty excited. I've never been to Malaysia, but we've got like $10,000 or $12,000 volume coming out of Malaysia this week, this month so far. And Eric, this was a major announcement. Actually, I think I kind of sensed this. I'd already announced this, but they made it official. Xango is officially a billion-dollar brand. And what does that mean? It means we've already done $1 billion in sales since our inception, and now our next goal is to be a $1 billion a year brand. Yeah, that's incredible. Isn't that amazing? And we're a part of it. Actually, I train people that a lot of times in our group to talk, even if they're talking about the juice, to mention the fact that, hey, in less than it takes most people to pay off a car, this company sold $1 billion worth of this juice, and it elevates it in the person's mind. Instead of, I've never heard of this before, they start to think, well, maybe I've been living in a cave, because apparently a lot of people have heard of it before. So one of the things that I want to talk about the international that I had just shocked me at the Premier Leadership meeting we went to, they talked about the international marketplace, and they said there's several companies that mainly all they do is do business in Mexico for direct sales network marketing, and several of them do $500 million plus a year just in the country of Mexico alone. And one of them does $800 million in the country of Brazil. And yeah, exactly. That just blew my mind. And and then they started talking about, okay, we're going for $1 billion a year, but what about $4 billion? What about $6 billion? What about $8 billion? And they started to look at the international scope of things. And with the type of company we have and the success track we already have to run on, it's just going to be fantastic. Yeah, it all starts the same way as it starts. If you want to expand internationally, besides finding somebody to talk to, the whole rest of the process is the same. Recruiting somebody in the UK is the same as recruiting somebody across the street, basically. It's not as big of a deal as you think, but you've got to make those connections. Eric, I want to jump into the next huge announcement. What a brilliant thing this is. I know you're very passionate about this. Why don't you, basically, I'm going to just kind of explain this, and then I'm going to have Terry come on and give her feelings on it. And then, Eric, we had a conversation this afternoon. Maybe you can jump in on this. But this was the next huge announcement. Xango believes, and I feel strongly, that one of the reasons we've been so successful is that we made a mission to be a charitable company, to put our money out there right from the very beginning. As Gary likes to say, we made a charitable contribution long before we were in profit. And as you know, we have now launched what's called Xango Goodness. That's our charitable company, but most of our donations so far have gone to a group called Operation Kids, and we are the largest donator to Operation Kids. We've given millions to them, and Xango gives 7% of net profits to charities, and that's so much per bottle. They don't play with the accounting game on that. So much per bottle they've designated. And of course, this is helping children already all over the world. And one of the interesting things, I've been thinking about this for over a year, and I had a couple ideas about it that I never acted on, but the thought pattern was this: man, you know what? We need something here to get the distributors involved.
It's like we sit down there in our chairs, and isn't this a nice thing? And we're helping Operation Kids by buying a bottle of juice, but the money's all coming from the company. And I thought, man, we need some way of getting the distributors to be able to participate in making some positive changes in the world through our Operation Kids or Zango Goodness. And so they've come out with the Zango Goodness Meal Pack. And this is really about, there's children that are starving still in this world with all of the abundance. Many countries like Sudan was the one that they actually showed there with all of the problems they're having in that country. There's children that one meal could save their life. And so they've come out with a program called the Zango Goodness Meal Pack, and you can participate in it. In fact, it's a brilliant plan that they have here of actually not only being able to participate in it yourself, encourage others to participate in it, but also by adding 100 PV to this meal pack, it gives you an incentive to go out actually and do good things. And Terry, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about this and your feelings on it, and then I'm going to get Eric's comments.
Thanks, Art. This is where my passion lies. I was in Art's meeting, and one of the people that were watching the meetings came up to me and said, Terry, what's your dream? Now that you've made your 500K and what have you. And I said, my dream is to help the children of the world. And I've always had a lot of passion for that. So these meal packs run very dear to my heart. And so you can imagine, of course, early this morning I was up at 5:30 writing my family and friends an email saying all that money that Art and I give each year to family and friends are all going to go to meal packs. And what you have to understand is when you buy a meal pack, you get a gift card, and that gift card can then go to the person that you donated it to. And so they get this lovely little gift card saying that Terry and Art Manville have sent it to my sister Sherry, and she's helped feed 50 children. I mean, that to me is giving.
Yeah, it's actually 50 meals in a pack, and it would feel 50 children one meal. So, gosh, isn't that something?
That's phenomenal. I mean, I am just so excited about this, and so I'm just hoping that our teams can all rally behind it and give this way, because it's a wonderful feeling to help the children of the world.
Fantastic. And Eric, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, one of the shocking numbers they talked about was how 6 million people die every year from malnutrition in the world yet today. And we don't think about that in America. I mean, it's obviously not on our mental radar screen unless we're involved in that. But, I sat back and I was thinking about that, and I thought, okay, we're no longer a one-product company. Now we have two products that are completely life-changing products, but they're completely, can you imagine, outside of the good it does for the world, that was obviously the biggest part. And then after I processed that, I sat back and I thought, another example of these guys are so far ahead of the game, so far out of the box. And now the great thing is the rest of network marketing copies Zango already. I hope they copy this because there's more children in the world and we're going to be able to help, And this was just, it just elevated my whole thinking pattern about what, it's one thing to say you're about charitable giving. Here they created we basically have a network marketing company here that one of our product lines is feeding hungry children around the world. I mean, and then I thought about that, and I thought, well, now you can go back to people that are on your list. There's a whole way you can go back to your warm market and talk to them about something that's just, might be more interesting to them than their own health. It may be more of an interest to them, and it likely is for a lot of people. But one of the things that I want to get going with our group is to have a rally thing for Christmas where, instead of, it's a good way to initiate conversations with people that you've never even talked to about it, because you can say, hey, by the way, I fed 50 children in Africa on your behalf for Christmas this year. Well, they're going to ask you what that's all about. And now their first impression of this company called Zango was somehow they enabled you to feed children on my behalf, and it takes it out of any preconceived idea of what they think network marketing is about or products are about. It's a whole new ball game as far as the impression of a company. And, so I couldn't get over it for hours. I was just thinking about all the different ways you could use this and different people you could talk to about Zango now that you maybe would have had a harder time having an angle to talk to them about, because, charitable things are a huge, those are the kind of people we're after, passionate, give of themselves to do something that's more than just about themselves. And And Zango's about that. Now we can give people a chance to come in and be a part of it.
Yeah, it's like $100 plus shipping. And, of course, the company has pledged to track all of these shipments to make sure they're delivered right to the children. There's no intermediaries here other than a transportation group. And, of course, with their experience in charities, they know that you got to make sure that the food gets out to those that need it. Anything you wanted to add, Terry?
No, I'm just so excited. It's very powerful. And the meals are actually vacuum sealed, so we know that they're going to get goodness out of what is in that pack.
Yeah, so if you got some Christmas presents that you'd like to give this year, you can give that. The company, what they'll do is they're going to send you out a gift card that you can then forward to the people and say, I bought this 50 meals in your name. And it also plants a seed with the people that receive it that, wow, maybe I should be doing some more giving this Christmas. Okay, I got to tell you my dream, okay? I had this weird dream. Sometimes when I can't sleep at night, I have all kinds of crazy things. And I decided, Terry doesn't even know I'm going to do this. She says, what's he talking about now? I decided to tell you what my dream was. I was laying in the middle of the night on Saturday night, woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning. I must be an internet guy because I had this thing come into my mind that was a URL, 1millionmeals.com. 1millionmeals.com. I thought, wow, 1 million meals. We could do 1 million meals with this. Wait a minute, how much is 1 million meals? Okay, how many, and I was thinking it up in my head, how many orders would it be to get 1 million meals? And I looked at that and I said, wow, that's not really many. I think it's going to have to be 10millionmeals.com, right? And that would be a great goal for the next convention, is to get 10 million meals out there. Then I thought, what about 1 million meals by Christmas? Wouldn't that be something? 1 million meals by Christmas. And I've written one of the founders. I'm going to write the rest of them and see what my vision is, to have a counter on all of the websites, on the front of Zango.com, on the TV, on the back office landing page that counts the number of meals that we have generated with a goal of hitting 1 million meals by Christmas. And I'm just kind of excited about that.
That's awesome, Art. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, 1 million meals by Christmas. So we're going to see if we can get corporate to rally behind it. We better get going here. Another major announcement. I know this is one that Terry's kind of excited about. We heard some rumors. Zango launched 2008, and they basically gave us this. I just forgot to unpause my screen there. Zango launched 2008. And they gave us a little teaser message. A lot of you have heard about it if you've been hanging around the message boards. And this is what it looks like. And you can see this. There's the website URL right there. If you want to check out this little video that goes with this, all it's going to do is tease you. But ZangoLaunch2008.com. And what do you suppose that we're going to do? It's always been, we always have known that the mangosteen is powerful as a topical. And many of us thought, man, if they're ever going to come out with a topical product, I mean, but basically what Aaron said, if we're going to lead the category, we've got to lead all parts of the category. And so what you're going to be seeing here in Zango Launch 2008 is a skin care product. Terry, what do you think?
Well, I can remember the first year we were in Zango and we went to Phuket, Thailand. And Beverly Hollister and I sat at the pool. In the last 5 years, every year, I talked to Beverly about this because Beverly has a lot of passion for the skincare. As you know, that's her niche. And so I would say to her, I would love to get a cream. I have really sensitive skin. I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle with different creams for their faces. And I know what this product with Zango, with the xanthones, and the pulp can do. And so you mix that with a cream, and we've got a dynamite product. I mean, it can. I just can't begin to tell you what this can do for people, whether it's baby's diaper rash, whether it's people that have eczema, whether it's people that have all kinds of skin issues. And, there's people out there. I know Dr. Tula, him and I talk all the time, and he makes a little potion up himself with the Zango juice and his little cream, and he puts it on every night. So I know with Beverly Hollister behind us, we're going to have an awesome, awesome product. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, people are making all kinds of potions already. And, Eric, are you guys using it topically out there in Wisconsin? Are people boiling down the juice and adding it to all kinds of things and making poultices out of it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a little dish in their refrigerator. They keep it, or
Yeah, right.
they can dish. Well,
Exactly.
like last year, all 4 of our boys got chicken pox in the same week, and we painted them with the stuff. It was. If you didn't know, I mean, it would have been a scary sight to see them, but they were red, Zango everywhere. They'd walk around the house and let it dry, and
Right.
it was kind of neat. But one of the things I thought about after this is, I thought people have gotten really excited about the idea of one product company, and I sat back and I thought, okay, because some people were like, well, what about the one product? And I thought, I've always known this was going to be, we're a category creator, we're not a one product company, and when I thought back to it, I thought, Zango, the founders of this company are the ones that created the idea that one product was a hot idea to begin with. If they're sensing the timing is right to add this to the mix because of international expansion and because we want to lead the category in this as well before
somebody else does, basically, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, why would we not trust their judgment and timing on this when they've hit the mark on everything else they've ever done? So
I was thinking too, Eric, before the event, that why not create more than one category, right? Yeah. Why not be a category creator for the juice, and then they come out with a category creating mangosteen skin line developed by Beverly Hollister. And for those of you that don't know this, in one of Beverly's previous jobs, she actually launched a $100 million plus a year skincare line for another company a number of years ago. So she really knows this marketplace. So, yeah, this is a very exciting move.
And Gary's no slouch in the cosmetics market either.
Yeah, you're right. Coming from Merle Norman Cosmetics, exactly. He was the CEO, helped guide them from 60 million to 250. So, yeah, this is a phenomenal thing here. Just to jump on here, because we got to get our guests on here soon. Eric, I know you want to talk about this next slide here. We had another huge presentation that was done at the premier meeting. And this is a picture of Dr. Templeman. And why don't you describe this a little bit, Eric, and how you see this? And then I've got a couple slides on the that I can show on this as you're talking about it.
Well, this is Dr. Templeman, and the lady he's with is a medical researcher, PhD. Her first name is Dr. Ramita. I can't pronounce her last name. I have no hope of pronouncing it, but she was actually introduced last year at convention, and they didn't make a big fuss of it. It was a little brief blurb, he said, and I thought, well, that was interesting. And he mentioned at that time that she was going to be heading up a new department of research at Harvard University on mangosteen, an entire research department on mangosteen at Harvard University. And I thought, oh, that's pretty interesting, but it just kind of out of sight, out of mind. Well, now come along, and now 1 year later of research, this lady's been studying the effects of a mixed xanthone and an alpha mangosteen extract on the effects of colon cancer, human colon cancer on mice. And, so you have to put this in perspective. Here we have, Harvard, if not the world, certainly the most well-based research facility in America, doing research. And you have to step back. The research isn't concluded. They're not making any grand conclusions. However, she did show some pictures of the mice and pre- and post tumors and pre- and post injection of these xanthone mixtures. And what they were showing on these preliminary things is that these xanthones would actually make these large tumors you could see sticking out the side of these mice disappear in a period of, I forgot what it was, if it was weeks maybe. And then the control mice were dead by the time the other ones were even healed, and it was late stage cancer, and they were repeating this. And then Dr. Templeman actually, and you're showing a chart there that actually showed all these different numerical values of what things did at different levels of xanthones and things. Incredible stuff when you consider the fact that this isn't in some faraway place. This is right in our backyard. And Dr. Templeman also mentioned how there was studies now being picked up by other universities. He said it's too early for us to divulge who they are, that are duplicating similar studies. And this Dr. Amita now is going in spring to Vienna, and she's going to be studying further studies on xanthone's effect on skin cancer. And then Dr. Templeman made a comment how there was increasing numbers now in the research community that mangosteen is on the radar screen all over the place in the scientific community in America now, and they're getting calls every week. And we sometimes don't understand the perspective of this. Dr. Templeman and Dr. Morton are actually such worldwide authorities on this that there was a research study that came out from Ohio State on leukemia and xanthones in spring of 2006, and Dr. Templeman and Dr. Morton were actually quoted in the bibliography as scientific resources to do this paper on. That's the level of expertise these guys have, and they said they're getting calls constantly, and not only research on mangosteen, but research on Zango specific. And I thought, interesting. So if Dr. Templeman is talking about this now, that probably means there's research going on already, Zango specific research, not just mangosteen and xanthone specific. So, and I sat back and I thought, wow, when this comes out, and I actually thought to myself, I hope it's 2 or 3 years from now before it comes out, because it is going to be such a free-for-all when those things come out and it's published and it's just, here it is, just look at this, game over, end of story. It's just going to be like taking orders from people, and it's just going to be a craziness. So I thought, give me 2 or 3 more years to work hard before that happens. But I thought that was just fantastic.
Yeah, actually, they've actually come out with a DVD showing these findings that was one of the top sellers from Mangosteen Tools, the Dr. Templeman Xanthone Study DVD. Let me show it to you here. And it's available from Sound Concepts, 10 DVDs for $59.95, but they also have a buy 2, get 1 free there. So I'm not sure exactly how that works. Perhaps if you bought 20, you would get 30 until November 2nd. So you can check with MangosteenTools.com. We've ordered one. We're going to order some more. There's also a great price if you can join together and get a group together to buy 100 of them in your local market. If you can, so let's say you got 5 or 10 people or 5 people that want to join together, you can get 100 of these things and pass them out and lend them to people. You don't want to give away a $5 DVD to people, but you lend it out. And so that's something that's available. Buy 2, get 1 free. All of the Mangosteen Tools stuff that were there were some good tools there. Don't go crazy and insane with tools, but if you want to get some tools, you can take advantage of the convention special. Anything else you wanted to add before we jump on here?
Keep rolling.
Okay. Listen, I've got to introduce now Lisa Scope. Are you there, Lisa?
Yes, I'm right here.
Hey, Lisa, just maybe you could move up a little bit closer to your telephone there so that you're coming in loud and clear. How are you doing tonight?
Is that better?
That's much better, yeah.
Okay.
Lisa Scope, better known as Double Shot. And Joel Leach gave her that name because he's her sponsor. And, of course, every time you talk to Lisa, she gets you excited, and it's like taking a double shot of coffee. So thanks. And we started calling her that, and actually it's true. You're just a very exciting, fun. And just for the people that don't know you, I think this is really cool. Joel, and I talked about you and Joel on our day after training event at the convention about how he went into this restaurant while he was on holidays, and he scoped out the most lively, energetic, enthusiastic, positive person in the entire restaurant and said, I'm going to find somebody in here that wants to do the business, and that was you, right?
That is exactly what happened. And, I look back at that, and I think, and that was before Zango. So can you imagine now?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, Lisa, what was your feeling? Just give us some of your thoughts about convention. By the way, congratulations on hitting 20K it was your goal all year, I know that, and on the day that convention started on Thursday, you hit 20K, right?
I did. It was exciting.
And we've all been watching you at the top of the leaderboard on My Mangosteen, like for the last month or two, just working hard over there. So what was your feelings about it?
Well, my husband and I have been talking about that a little bit, and I think the most important thing that we came home with was persistence. Consistency, persistence, and, we need to be the biggest cheerleader for our group that we can possibly be.
Right.
That's my main job, and so that's what I am. I need to be a ball of energy, and it needs to be that little snowflake at the top of the hill that comes down and ends up being an avalanche. And if I can do that for my group, then I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, you've done a fantastic job of getting your group out there. Now, listen, you did something that I never even thought about. Tell me how many people on your team, now you just turned 20K, came to this year's convention?
There were 9 of us, including my husband and myself.
Yeah, there was 9 of you. How many do you now have registered for next year's convention?
We have 21 so far.
Yeah, so there, now that is a go-getter here, and I didn't even realize this, but make a note of this, everyone, for next year, that Lisa was on the phone calling people at the breaks with the fact that you could enroll and get the lower convention price up until like midnight on Saturday night. I don't know how you had the time to do this, but you must have been working all the breaks, calling people that weren't there, saying, you got to come next year. Is that what happened?
Well, I started it, and then I turned to the distributors I had with me, and basically was kind of a little forceful, and I said, you need to call, you need to call, you need to call. And they took my cue, and they started calling people. And so it was really great. And
so if everybody had called one person, right, and then had them all get one person. I know I heard Cindy Samuelson, who I don't know where she's apparently from Mary Kay. They do this all the time. But apparently she had her whole group lined up in advance, and she had 450 people there, and she has 500 people registered for next year's convention that didn't attend this convention. Now that is really going for it.
That is fantastic. And when I heard her story, it gave us even more distinct gratitude. We need to do that. We need
anything else, it's very uplifting, but it also is kind of fun, isn't it, at convention? There's all kinds of wild people there, things going on. This is a picture from the dance party. Who the heck, what's going on there?
That was the fun night at convention. And I have to tell you, when you walked up to us, I didn't even know it was you. It was so funny. And here we are taking a picture, and we just had a blast. That's my friend Connie. She's been in the business since September 12th, standing next to Art. And then there's Terry and myself. And
this is a handmade outfit that was just incredibly well done.
Well, Connie should get all the credit for that. She is so creative, and I can't wait to see her blossom in this business because she just has a mind for creativity.
Yeah, fantastic. And I have to show another picture here. I can't have a convention picture thing without, hold on, unpause. Whoops. Uh-oh. I lost my control panel again.
It'll come back.
Oh, well, let me try just clicking. Oh, there's Mike Erskine as Data and his lovely wife, Melissa, 200K premiers. They came with us to the 100K dinner. And in the middle there, when we didn't even know, Mike, if you're watching this, we took this picture. We had no idea that was Brian Davis, Zango Legal, the attorney guy, used to be general counsel, now in charge of international, and his wife, so a lot of fun was happening there. Anyway, Lisa, anything else you'd like to share before we bring our next guest on here?
It was one of the things that I have been harping about for years in my family is I don't like television, and I can't remember who said it, but they said there's no PV in TV. And, it just hit home, and I just want to let people realize that. Television is not going to build your business. So get away from it unless you're showing a DVD to a new person. Yeah,
watch Zango.tv. By the way, somebody reminded me it's Zango.tv. That's the kind of TV you want to be watching and showing. Yeah, we waste a lot of time in front of that tube, don't we?
We really do. Yes, we do.
Lisa, thank you so much for coming on. I know you do. You're really excited for you, and I don't think you're planning on putting your feet up and stopping at 20K, right? What is your dream?
Well, my next goal, Mike Erskine, as a matter of fact, taught me you go from promotion to promotion, and so my next goal is to go premier, and I hope it's by summertime. That's my goal. Okay, premier by summertime, and thanks to Joel Leach, her sponsor. And Lysandra for sponsoring Joel. Just a great group. Great to have you in this team. And Eric, listen, why don't you come back on here and introduce your guest and maybe do a little bit of interview over there with Kevin, okay?
Sure. One of the things I wanted to mention before we...
Thanks, Lisa.
One of the things I was going to mention is that next year's convention is in November, but don't waste the whole year missing this kind of excitement and certainty-building activity. Two great opportunities in spring is the regional in California in March, and then in Orlando in May. And I know we're going to take the kids down to Disneyland and get a whole big tax write-off trip and go back to Disneyland again. And we got a lot of people excited about that. We're going to carpool down there from Wisconsin in a big caravan and make it a big fun activity as a team. And so don't if you didn't come now and you couldn't or just didn't decide to this time, that's a great one to go to. It's easy to get to Florida, obviously, to Orlando area. So I just wanted to mention that. I think those are listed on the Zango.com website where those events are. But I wanted to...
Yeah, in fact, if you get a lot of people out to those events, you're more likely to get more people out to conventions. So, yeah, that's the next major event that we've got that we're booking here. So, listen, let's bring on your guest here. Nice-looking bunch.
This is... I'll give a quick story here. This is Kevin Hickman and his beautiful family here, and they live in Wisconsin in Janesville. And we hadn't talked. He's recently in the business in September, and he committed to go to convention because I pretty much phrased it that it wasn't optional. And I have personal sponsorship of him. And the story is one of the things about working your WAR market is sometimes when things start to build, you leave the WAR market and you just start doing other things. And here's an example of someone I had left behind in my WAR market on my list, just hadn't gotten that far in the list yet. And he was getting married to Kim here in the fall, and he went looking for me on the internet and found me through a Google search and found me involved in Zango and called me up and said, hey, how's it going? And he kind of played cat and mouse with me for a little bit, and then he divulged that he knew I was in Zango, and he says, why didn't you call me? And I said, I didn't really have a good excuse other than I didn't keep going on my list. So, and here we have someone who's going to be the next premier on my team to put me to 500K, and I almost missed him. And so pretty amazing. But, Kevin, are you on the line?
I sure am.
All right. Well, Kevin, I know you're new to Zango. You're not even 60 days in the business, and you're certainly new to something as mind-blowing as the convention was. Why don't you kind of just share some of the things that hit you as a brand new to this whole thing?
Sure, I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to say it was just an honor to spend some quality time with Art and Terry and Eric at convention. These people really are truly inspirations for all of us, and I really consider you guys mentors, so I appreciate the time you spent with me. Like Eric said, they've asked me to kind of comment on the convention from the perspective of someone that's only been in the business for a little over a month now. This was obviously my first convention, and I tell you what, watching that Zango TV video again gave me chills all over again. I had chills for about 48 hours straight at convention. It was incredible. Eric asked me earlier when I talked to him, he said, well, what did you get out of the convention? And, I got 36 pages of notes, but those are merely words on paper. What I truly gained, I think, was in my heart. I gained a realization, I don't think I'm exaggerating here, I gained a realization that, we're all involved in the single greatest opportunity for any of us to realize health, wellness, and financial freedom in our lifetimes. Eric told me leaders are born at convention, and I believe Art said the same thing. I'll tell you what, guys, I came into that convention as a follower, someone a little tentative, someone not sure the direction I was going, and I emerged as a leader in this business, and that's something I'm proud of. Eric knows I flew back in late on Sunday night. The minute I walked through my front door, I actually ran through my front door Sunday night. I sat down with my wife, Kim. You see her there in the picture. And I told her, honey, I had a life-changing experience when I was in Salt Lake City. So we immediately went online. We brought up the Zango website. We registered for the convention for next year. And we told each other we'd be walking on stage hand in hand this time next year as leaders in this business. And then we're going to do the best job we possibly can to bring a complete plane load of our Zango team with us this coming year. A couple things. Eric, mentioned earlier the whole point about the warm market. That's important, but I want to mention a couple things I got from the convention that I thought were pretty important. Everybody need to listen to this. You need to bring this business down to a level anybody can understand. Can I tell you what a xanthone is, what a phytonutrient, an antioxidant really is? Absolutely not. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a regular, average, everyday guy. But I don't need to know those things. I realized that when I sat at a convention and talked to everybody else. All I really need to do is sit across the table from someone and share my story and Zango's story with them like we are here tonight. They need to be able to see themselves doing exactly what I'm doing. You know what? Or they're never going to sign up. Or if they do sign up, it's going to be what's called a $35 no. So they're not going to do anything anyways. So just in closing, don't neglect that warm market. Bring this business down to a level anybody can understand. And I think, right away tomorrow or right away tonight, as soon as you get off this call, look at that warm market again and start making calls because you might find your next premier too. So Eric, Art, I really thank you guys for the opportunity to speak tonight. I can't wait to be on stage with both of you next year as a leader.
Be well,
Hey,
my friend.
wow. Thanks a lot, Kevin. And Eric, I mean, I wonder how many people on this line here have warm market that might react the same way that Kevin did. Why didn't you tell me about this? And so why not just let them know about it? Why not make sure that everybody knows what they're doing? Why not expose it to them and let them decide whether they're interested or not? I mean, it is so simple. Just let them know. Tell your story. Let them know. What do you think, Eric? I mean, it seems simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, I came back and I was on the plane and my wife looked over. She says, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm making lists. What do you think?" Because I got a renewed resolve, a whole another level of conviction, and just something triggered, and we're already at 200K, and I thought, man, there's something about going to these events that just changes you on the inside, and something comes out differently, and I can't wait to start approaching some people I neglected, and I'll have to apologize them as my first thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't call you on this. Wow, I really missed the boat. I apologize.
Yeah.
That's a great approach. Another announcement, Eric, I want to see what your thoughts are on this because, first of all, Terry and I, just to tell you, maybe, Terry, you'd like to talk about this a little bit. We were on the plane, right, on the way home, and there was a fairly conservative gentleman. He's actually an engineer. Wouldn't be the first kind of person. But, Terry, why don't you talk about the little meat market conversation you had on the phone and how you were thinking about this new little sample squeeze that Zango's coming out with next year?
Well, it was really interesting. I don't do center seats on a plane at all. And Art was on the window. I was in the center, and the gentleman was on the end. And, I just got a conversation going with him. What does your wife do? And what do you do for work? And where are you flying to? I was really interested in him. And finally, he asked me, he says, "So what do you do? Why were you in Salt Lake?" Well, the door opens, as it always does. And so I told him about Zango, and he says, "Wow." He says, "Really?" He says, "I'm a diabetic and what have you." And so we strum up a conversation. And as he was talking, I'm thinking about these little squeeze things that the company has got. And I'm like, geez, I wish I had one of those. That would have been great to give him one. That was an opportunity. That door opened to say, because he said to me, "Well, you sure it really does taste good?" And I thought, oh, if I only had one of those, he could have tasted it right away. This 1 ounce, he could have tasted it, and I could have signed him up right away. So now I have to do follow-up, and I have to phone him. But, yeah, Art, you can talk about the little squeeze packs. I think they're going to be really hot. There's a lot of different ways we can work with them.
Yeah, well, it's just another, what I see is it's a little tiny step that you can take. There's all kinds of steps to the process of exposure, and sometimes this is a tiny step to get somebody to taste it, right? Then to get them to a bottle or from a taste to a case. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's fantastic. And basically, this is coming out next year as part of a quarterly promotion. Right now, it's only planned to be for the first quarter to help us get the new year off. And they're going to be little squeeze samples that are they look like bottles, too. They're going to look like bottles. I don't know, they're probably foil packs or something that look like little Zango bottles. And then you can attach a business card to them and get the juice out into more people's hands. That's the key.
Art, I was going to say that the taste thing, I think when we're in Zango, we can sometimes forget how big of a deal that is. Right before we left for convention, someone had sent me a FedEx envelope with some actual sample squeezes like that from another company that's like a mineral vitamin mixture of some sort. And I put it in a glass and said, "Hey, try this." And my wife took one drink, and she said, "I ain't drinking that. You drink it. I don't care what it is." And, it may be perfectly good for you, but here we are. We're into health, and my wife won't even, she's like, "I'm not drinking that. I can't even swallow that." And so I think when we get together with someone, the sooner we can solve the taste issue in their mind, even if they're not talking about it, the better. And this is going to allow us a very easy way to do that.
Yeah, basically, I've kind of got a bunch of announcements coming up. I want to just leave it open. Lisa, Kevin, did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add before we go into the final announcements here and the upcoming schedule?
Kevin, go ahead.
I would just add, thanks a lot, Lisa. I would just add, Art, something that's been said a couple of times, but it bears repeating. If you haven't registered for the convention next year, do it tonight. Or do it first thing in the morning, but don't wait any longer. It's going to be a life-changing experience.
And Eric?
I would say I've been thinking about what Aaron Garrity ended things on. He said, it's time to go for it. The talk is done. It's time to show it. And I know a lot of us have all kinds of promises we make to ourselves, but one of the people in my group made a statement. They said the only difference between him and the people that are on stage is that they're not just talking about it, they're doing it. And I thought that was just a real simple, great insight, but there's a lot of truth to it. So we're coming into the new year and wrapping up this year, and set some goals for even just from between now and Thanksgiving. Make a sprint and get some momentum, and then come into January with a whole new outlook on next year and go for it.
Yeah, fantastic. I really I recognize a couple things here. I have a very powerful training that I had planned well before convention for this November the 3rd, this Saturday, because one of the problems I have seen in the past, I don't feel like it's going to happen this time, but I have seen it in the past where people are like, well, there's something called the law of diminishing intent. And the law of diminishing intent means that when you have a strong intention, and those that you attended the convention have all come back with this incredible intention. I'm going to become a premier, or I'm going to be a 100K by next convention. I want to be a 500K premier, right? And so you have this intention that you set. But if you don't get into action, then that intention starts to diminish. The longer time that you go from the experience of convention, or even from the experience of this webinar tonight. If you saw something on this webinar tonight that was exciting, but when you leave this webinar, you go back out into the living room and put on the television set and don't think any more about it, then you have lost already the impact from what you heard here tonight. If you don't get off of here and start thinking about people that would be interested in the goodness pack, then you've lost the possibility to get into action with this. If you don't sit down and make up a new warm market list. So what our plan is in Saturday is to take the energy that was created in convention and turn it into action. And so it's primarily for the people that attended convention. That's who it's targeted for. But certainly anyone who didn't attend can follow some of these steps. We're going to give you some specific action steps on Saturday, some things that you can do. Some actual things, some ideas I had going in, and some ideas I've coming out. And we're also bringing on Ann Van Brussel, who I know she's on here. Ann, congratulations. I'm sure you're a 5K by now. This gal left on Wednesday for convention and signed up 6 people by Saturday night. 3 of them from her warm market that she called and said, wow, you just got to get some of this juice. This is incredible. And 3 people from the meat market, the people that you meat market. And we were having one of our team dinners. She had the waiter down there, and she was talking to him. So you're going to hear what she's been doing 60-some days in the business, probably a 5K by now. That's on Saturday, November the 3rd, this coming Saturday. Also, we have Dr. Miller in Portland this Thursday night. Anybody in the Oregon area, you should have a flyer on that. RSVP with Fifi here, who is the host of that event. And then we have Dr. Miller's conference call Tuesday, November 6th. Remember, they're now on Tuesday. Dr. Andrew Miller, Dr. Albert Miller, and Fifi Cheek conference call, 6 p.m., and you'll get the email on that. Also, we're going to be in the Silverdale Beach Hotel November 10th, 2 to 4 p.m. You should have a flyer on that. If you're not, send us an email. Then we've got Eric Welsh. Eric has his phenomenal #1 overview webinars, a great way to introduce people, very product-focused. And, gosh, you've got some new stuff probably to add now, Eric. But the dates for his webinars are November 13th and 27th. Those are designed for new people. If you bring them, they will join. And then we've got our team training site. If you didn't get an email directly on this, you can join right here and get an email of all of the conference calls. Also, the back office, you can log in, see past webinars, and a special announcement. Gosh, for you guys that didn't attend or were busy going to see other speakers, here's the big news. We did videotape both of our presentations. The Creating the Premier Mindset was absolutely overflowing. We had about 800 or 900 people lined up along the walls, and I had people coming up to me all the time. It was almost overwhelming, to be honest with you, telling me how much they enjoyed that presentation. And in fact, I'll tell you this, I've got some stories to tell you, but leaders at the 100K dinner were coming up telling me how much they enjoyed our webinars, and I'm just absolutely stunned. I want to thank all the leaders out there for recommending our site. It's a free site for anybody in Zanga. We're all one team, and it was just an honor to be acknowledged by these other leaders and other people saying how much they're getting from our site and our webinars. So take advantage of them and get a lot of folks on them. It's for you. So anyway, we recorded both the Creating the Premier Mindset and by video, and we videoed the 14-day challenge. We did an upgraded version of that, and our plan is to blend in our PowerPoint and have the first video training in the back office if it all works out. So look for that in the coming week or two. And whoops, that's it. You missed it, but don't forget about next year. So I'd like to thank you all for coming on the call. Anything else, Eric, before we open up the lines to say goodbye?
Thanks for having me on. It was a blast, and just don't miss what Zango's going to do in the next year. Get on board and set your sights high, and just have a good talk with yourself tonight when you get off the phone, and come out charging.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We've got the category curator, $1 billion already. That's a big story. The thing is, here's the key, and I'll just close off with this, then Terry's got another word to say. The key is that you have a vehicle here that you can count on, that is proven, that is growing, that has all this potential. That's one of the hardest things you can find in this industry. We spent 20 years looking for the right vehicle. We made a lot of money in our first opportunity, and then we basically just barely stayed off of the freeways in the next 20 years. So it took us 19 years, basically, to find a company like this. Once you have the right opportunity, then you have to apply the effort. You have to apply the focus. You have to do the work. You're going to have to grow. You're going to have to become greater than you thought you were. You're going to have to go outside of your comfort zone. But I'm telling you what, at least you've got the first part. That's the hardest part to find. And then at least if you apply your energy to this company, you don't have to worry about it disappearing or checks not being cashed, or it's not some sort of a startup that might fold up or change the compensation plan. You can at least apply your effort and your energy over the next 5 years to a company that is going to be there for you. Harry, anything else before we open the lines?
Well, the only thing I want to say is, Gary Hollister would always say at the end, it has only just begun. And that is the truth, but it has just begun. But it's what you do tomorrow. It's what list you make tonight. It's what action step you take. And so I encourage you all to share this great juice and this product and the meals with people. I mean, you guys, this is knockout. I mean, if you sit down and think about what we've got here, you'll just be in awe. So thank you all for joining us tonight on the webinar, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Okay, well, listen, let's open up the lines. If you've already muted your lines at the beginning of the call, just unmute them now with *6 so that we can give our guests a round of applause. Congratulations to Eric Welsh for coming on, and also for Lisa Scope and Kevin, Terry, of course. Let's just give them a round of applause here at the count of 3. So we're going to open up the lines here.
Okay,
give them a round of applause at 1, 2, 3. Thank you.